Hey there, friends. I'm back for part two of my scent split sample haul, and I've got 8 rich, warm, and intriguing scents to share with you today. I'm Rebecca, and this channel is called Perfume Prescription because I'm a physician. I'm an internal medicine doctor, and I've got a bachelor's degree in chemistry, so I've got science background to talk about some of the world of perfumery and fragrance. But I'm really here because I just love fragrance. I think most of us who enjoy fragrances love the fact that we can create memories with fragrance, and we also love those vivid memories that we get from fragrance. And learning about different fragrance notes and types of fragrances has enriched my life. I hope to benefit you from some of the effort that I've spent over the last several years collecting and kind of archiving fragrances. I've got over 1,000 and I've got them all in a spreadsheet. I have many samples that are like the 2 ml size or larger. I have a lot of full bottles as well, but when I find that I'm not loving a full bottle and not likely to finish it, I will take a decant of it and keep that in my archive to refer back to and then pass it on. So, anyway, I want to tell you the fragrances that I'm going to review. So, we will start with Lineage by Amouage. Then we've got Ambar Dominicano by Day 3. We've got Duchessa by Gritti, Amber Beige by Conde Parfum, Tabac Dior by Conde Parfum, Psychedelic Love by Initio, and Musc Shamal by Armani Prive, and Ouverture by Xerjoff. Let's get started. Okay, so Lineage by Amouage. So I've got 2 blotters here because I have one that's had it on there for several hours, and I've got one that I just sprayed. Amouage is an Omani luxury house. They've got opulent and very complex compositions. They made Guidance and a lot of other fragrances that are talked about in the fragrance community a lot. This one I was influenced to try by several different YouTubers who mentioned it as one that they just really love. The top notes are ginger, Peruvian pepper tree, Szechuan pepper, then there's saffron, frankincense, fenugreek, myrrh, benzoin, labdanum, patchouli, and vetiver. So at the top, there's this very balsam, um, like almost rosemary-ish kind of scent, which is it's the ginger and the pepper and the Szechuan pepper. Have you ever had Szechuan peppers in your food? And they're the ones that you chew them, you chew those little peppercorns and they make your mouth go numb and they're spicy. There's some of that in here. There is a very prominent frankincense note after those initial top notes kind of fade just a little bit. And these other resinous notes that give this almost incense quality to the fragrance. And I would say that's what this really feels like to me, is an incense fragrance that's lightened up with the ginger. So this one ends up being very like woody, like resinous woody, but it's got that medicinal quality that the myrrh and the frankincense have. And that's where it kind of departs from my preferences. I don't love that medicinal scent, and it doesn't go away, and it's not going to fade. It's part of the resin. This is very long lasting, but it's not a beast. It's not going to bother people around you. I can see this as definitely like a meditative scent. It reminds me a little bit of the little monastery in North Mississippi that I stayed at one week several years ago, and they had this beautiful meditation hall made of cedar and lined with windows all along the sides that look out into this kind of forested woodland, and they burn incense. And this reminds me a little of that in the dry down. So good fragrance, but just not something I'm going to wear. So I'm not going to get a larger decant of it. I do think it's definitely worth getting your nose on if this sounds interesting to you, though, because it might be right up your alley. This is a very expensive scent, $360 for 100 mils, but you can find these at discounters. You can sometimes get $150 off these things. That's Lineage by Amouage. And the next one on our list, Ambar Dominicano by Day 3 Fragrances. Day 3 is an American perfume house. They, I think, are out of Arizona, the Southwest somewhere. Their fragrance called La Tacita de Cafe a couple of years ago won a couple of awards, and it was meant to evoke the sense of a coffee shop, but not just the coffee, the wooden boards on the floor and the whole experience. It's a really nice scent. This one is inspired by the drink called Mama Juana, which is from the Dominican Republic. It is made by steeping rum and red wine and honey and herbs and some tree bark together. And it's supposed to be medicinal or aphrodisiac or maybe both. It's got what the perfumer calls a fizzy cola accord. That's the top note. And then there's lime, lavender, honey, divana, cinnamon, clove, anise, vanilla, patchouli, amber, and a musk accord. So if I didn't know they called it a fizzy cola accord, I wouldn't have thought, oh, this is a cola fragrance. I've smelled some that smelled like that. This isn't like that. It's not boozy either, even though it is evoking an alcoholic beverage. This is a really, really nice amber. You get the amber all the way from the top down to the bottom in the dry down. It's not a beast. It's going to stay within arm's length. It's just really pretty. The honey in it is a nice kind of dry honey. There are some honey fragrances that smell stinky. This is not one of those. And I just really like it. Have you tried Mama Juana? It seems almost like a Latin version of mulled wine, but maybe more playful. So this is definitely on my list to get a larger decant to spend some more time with it. I think this would be probably more of a cooler weather scent for me, but I could see maybe wearing it in warm weather. So I'll give that one a try. Next up from Gritti is Duchessa. So Gritti is an Italian niche house that has a history that dates all the way back to the 16th century. They are known for their luxurious and opulent fragrances and obviously have been quite successful. This is a primarily it's a black cherry scent. It's a dark boozy cherry almond. The cherry almond note here very well may be the same cherry almond that's in Jergens hand lotion, that the cherry almond Jergens. It is bordering on cough syrup cherry. And so for that reason, I just don't love it. But the other notes, sorry, I didn't go through those. Black cherry is top, bitter orange, saffron, jasmine, cloves, cocoa, iris, almond, and brown sugar. So there is some sweetness to this one. What you're left with is a fairly, in my opinion, muddy, warm-ish, ambery kind of fragrance with some cherry in it. I don't think that for what it is, it really is worth the 300 to 395 price tag. This one, I would definitely make sure you get your nose on it and smell it before you spend that kind of money on it. You could probably find something you would like just as well for a much better price point, something from, let's say, one of the dupe houses like Okja, or I think K Alley has a cherry fragrance. It's not my favorite note, and so I have not explored a lot of cherry fragrances. I didn't have a lot to pull to compare to. I do have Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, but that doesn't really get you anything because it's really expensive too. And it also doesn't have very good longevity, so it's not a great comparison. So anyway, that one, somewhat of a dud for me. So moving on. Next one here is Amber Beige. This is from Conde Parfum. It was launched in 2020. Fabio Conde is the creator. The top notes are rum and sweet orange. Middle notes, cinnamon caramel, benzoin, orris, and cardamom, with a base of amber, vanilla, cacao, labdanum, and cedar. So I wondered before I smelled it if this would be like Chanel Beige with amber. That's the really light, tender, white floral. This is a good bit different. But when you think about amber fragrances that tend to be on the heavier, warmer side, this one is definitely lighter. There's a little spiciness from the cinnamon. There's coumarin, which has that vanillic scent. And then there's rum, but it's not boozy. It's overall like it's a faded amber. It's nice, but I've got 30 or 40 amber perfumes, and I would sit this one kind of right in the middle of those. So I don't feel like I need to spend a lot more time with this one. I think if you're looking for a kind of lighter amber, you might like this one. But there are a lot of other options, and you could find some that were significantly less expensive than the about 150 for a 50 mil. And I realized when I was thinking about describing this amber that when I recorded the last video and I was talking about resins, I said that amber was a resin, and that's not true. I was putting it in that category with the other resins, but amber, it is a resin. There is a resin called amber, and it's the stuff we see fossilized mosquitoes and stuff in amber. But that doesn't have a scent. Amber is a fantasy note. The resin doesn't actually have a scent. So this is an imaginary creation of a perfumer, this feeling of what amber might smell like. That's just a little interesting bit of perfumery information there for you. So that was Amber Beige. Then next, also from Conde Parfum and Fabio Conde, is Tabac Dior. So Dior being the word for gold, so golden tobacco. And the top notes here are guava and grapefruit. Middle is benzoin, myrrh, heliotrope, and black pepper. The base is tobacco, vanilla, tonka, and patchouli. So, given the name, I was thinking maybe this would be like honeyed or vanilla tobacco, but that is not the case. I did not read the notes and have them in front of me when I smelled this at first. And I actually did a double take because I thought maybe I had the wrong sprayer. This is like a sweet citrus peels preserved in honey. You've seen those or used those jars you can get at the Asian market of like citron peels in honey and you put it in your tea. This starts off like that. And then the middle turns into this cleaning product type citrus smell. And then the cleaning product goes away and it gets back to the kind of more honeyed lemon, but there is still a little bit of the cleaning product. And I get no tobacco or tonka here at all. I don't smell black pepper. This one just smells like cleaning products to me with some sugar, like some honey. Retails around $140 for 50 mils. If you like a cleaning product citrus, if you've heard other people talk about a perfume you like that way, you may love this. So that could be for you. I'm not going to yuck your yum, but that one's just not for me. And I know I've mentioned several of these today that just didn't work out for me, but I think it's important for people who are doing reviews to be just as ready to include items they don't like as what you do. If for no other reason than it allows you as a viewer to know how your preferences are situated among mine. If I only give you the things I like and I don't really tell you what I don't like, then you can't gauge your own preferences against mine as well and determine better what you may enjoy. I don't mean that I expect you to align with my preferences, but just that you know them so that as you form your own opinions, you know how ours are relative to one another. Little side note there. Okay, so next, and let's see, we've got three more. So this one is one that I've been hearing about for a while. This is Psychedelic Love by Initio. I've heard so many people talk about this one. It's supposed to be like passion and slightly trippy, intense floral gourmand. The notes are bergamot, ylang ylang, myrrh, rose, vanilla, patchouli, sandalwood. So that floral combo of the ylang ylang and rose with some vanilla were interesting to me. And there are plenty of times I enjoy patchouli. This patchouli is head shop patchouli. There's a store in my town that is remarkably still open. I think it opened in the 80s at least, and maybe in the 70s. It is called Beautiful Day CD Exchange and Waterbeds. They do have a CD exchange still, I think, and they sell waterbeds, but it's really a head shop. I used to go in there in college a lot to trade CDs, and this patchouli is in there along with all the Grateful Dead t-shirts. Don't let my opinion dissuade you if you like hippie kind of patchouli. This is not like big hippie patchouli. This is like fairly, I mean, this is a reserved hippie patchouli and definitely more grown up with the other floral notes. And the sandalwood is nice. This is not one of those sandalwood notes that has the weird pickled dill smell. So for me, this is a no-go. Definitely try a decant of it instead of paying the $400 that it costs retail. And look secondhand, you might be able to get at least $100 off that price from somewhere like Joma Shop or Fragrance Net, and sometimes even better than that if you get someone's partially used bottle from Mercari. Next is Musc Shamal by Armani Prive. This one I was influenced to smell by Veronica Says. She's brought this up in several of her videos. There is a wind, a meteorological phenomenon, a wind called the Shamal wind that blows across the Arabian Gulf. And this is supposed to capture the feeling of this warm, dry desert wind. The notes are musk at the top, amber, vanilla, rose, and cedar. I get I'm going to spray it again because I'm going to make sure. Again, this is several times that I've worked to experience this fragrance because I'm getting like definitely the musk, but there is an aldehydic, almost like Chanel number 5 aldehyde. And then as that dries, it becomes oud and a dirty-ish oud. And I don't like that. It's the kind of smell that like would annoy me if I was in the room with it for very long. This is definitely a no-go for me. I'm even now I'm smelling that sprayed again. It's almost a cannabis-like smell, which is so weird. It's just odd. It's so different from how I've heard other people describe it. So another no-go for me, I would search out some of the Middle Eastern houses and try some of their oud rose musk fragrances, which you can get for much, much less than the $400 retail that you have to pay for the Armani Prives. And at very least, I would sample this one first, for sure. Then last but not least is Ouverture by Xerjoff. This one I was influenced to try by Demi Rawling. It is a really unique fruity floral scent where the fruit and the floral is very evenly balanced. It does have sweetness to it, but it's not like juvenile sweetness. Nothing wrong with that, but it's more grown up, but it's not mature in a vintage kind of a way. The florals here really make it so nice and rounded. There's the notes. Let me read those to you. Orange, fig leaves, magnolia, cinnamon, jasmine, Bulgarian rose, ylang ylang, amber, incense, sandalwood, cashmere, and vanilla. And that cashmere in there and the sandalwood just round this out, and they're blended together to this nice, like sweet creaminess, but it's not so blended up that it loses its complexity and becomes muddy. There is some kind of loss of the edges as it dries down, but that's just normal. But it retains that balance with the florals and the fruity. It's got an arm's reach or less, which for me, that's my preference. It's not a beast, but it's not a skin scent. I think that I'm going to get a larger decant of this one. It's a little bit heavy. I'll have to see like super hot weather. I probably wouldn't do it, but evenings in the summer when it's not super, super hot, That could be a really nice one for that, like outdoors. That would be good. So I'm gonna spend more time with that one. The price on these, average retail is about 200 for a 50 mil and about 300 for a 100 mil. And you can fairly often find these Xerjoff fragrances on discount sites. So 150 to 250. So you can get them decently discounted. I would probably do 5 or a 10 mil with this one, spend some time with it, and then see if I want a full bottle. So after a few disappointments here, I definitely have got two that I want to spend some more time with. Amber Dominicano, which out of all these others that are supposed to be these kind of amber fragrances, this one stands out as really good. And then the Ouverture is that kind of balanced floral fruity that is somewhat unique. I don't have a lot of fragrances that are like that, and I think that'll fit nicely into my fragrance wardrobe. I hope that some of that was beneficial to you. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. The things that you say, the questions that you ask, give me ideas for more videos. If there are things that you want to see about my spreadsheet of 1,000 fragrances and things that you want me to pull and compare, I can do it. Please let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Much love.